Welcome to class, home skillets. Today's essential questions are, should I be worried what the cool kids are saying nowadays?
Always.
Should the makers of the pharmaceutical Skyrizi have checked with said cool kids before naming it that? And is English changing, or are my students just brain damaged?
Speaking of not speaking at your level.
We put that down a bit.
It'll be fine.
He'll start whispering in a couple minutes.
Yeah.
Bet. Let's introduce today's teachers. I'm Mr. Walter, and within 1 month of owning my first phone, I put it through the washing machine.
Wow, that's impressive.
That's what happens when you're at a dorm school.
Yeah. Oh, this is back in college or in high school.
High school,
in
yeah.
High school, okay.
I was at a dorm. My first phone, it was a flip phone, so nice and small, in the pocket of some jeans probably. Just threw it in there. The rice did not help.
I don't think that gets the detergent out of it.
Probably not.
I'm Mr. Rabbers, and this past week, while setting up for the football game live stream, I went on the roof of our press box that we have by the football stadium, and I used a shorter ladder, and I was just by myself, and nothing really happened. It was just, I was very not wise in using this ladder because I would have to step on the very top level.
Oh, this is not a step.
Yeah, this is not
We
a
all
step.
step on that step.
I stepped on the...
I do not step on that step.
I step on that step all the time during set building.
And there was some kind soccer players who helped me down one time. One time I just had to go down by myself. And then when I was done with the game, I had actually a bigger ladder, and there was one of the sheriffs that was helping me down, holding the ladder. So it was all good. I actually did rip my pants on getting up the first time. And yeah, that's my dumb thing.
When I was a younger, less experienced teacher, I had a student who kept falling asleep in my class. So I went to the student who sat next to him, and I gave him a Sharpie. And I said, if he falls asleep again, you can draw on his face. Thinking that if there was somebody next to me holding a Sharpie, glancing eagerly over at me on a regular basis, waiting for me to fall asleep, that I would very much stay awake out of fear. Not this student. So I was writing something on the board, and I turn around, and the Sharpie student is walking back to his seat with a smile on his face. And I was like, oh no. And the student who fell asleep again slowly raises his head in confusion and has a unibrow because the other kid connected his eyebrows with Sharpie. I was kind of scared I was going to get fired that day, but the kid who had Sharpie on his face thought it was funny, so it worked out.
That was a good learning experience.
Yes, I learned a lot.
And do you want to tell the listeners your name?
No. I'm Mr. Linton.
That's the new dumb thing.
I do what I want.
Welcome to class, everybody. All right, today, since I haven't been able to launch my side podcast, Linguistic Fisticuffs, yet, with the esteemed Reverend Margraf, I thought I would just shoehorn one of those episodes in here. And we're going to talk about slangs. This might be a shorter episode. It'll hopefully be one of the more fun episodes. We've had some dark episodes recently, so let's liven it up a bit. Why not? This is how we're going to do it. We're going to do a little round robin. One of us is going to introduce a slang word, and the others, and for those listening at home, you can also participate, try and guess what that word means. I think we'll probably get all of them. Okay. And also maybe where it originated from. And then the person who brought the word can tell us if we were right or not with some lovely facts. No printer.
please leave that long, awkward pause in the final cut for me.
Bussin'. Okay, so who wants to start this mess?
You know what? I'll go ahead.
Go ahead.
My word is John.
So, well, we were talking about this over some lunches, but
That Ben never comes to.
Ben came to once or twice.
Yep.
Now the thing that comes to mind most often is the restroom, but I also thought of. No, I'm not going to say that one. Never mind.
I've heard the term John used as just a generic person, but the first thing that pops in my head is the bathroom. Gonna go visit the John.
Well, look, we have a lot of options here. John Doe, Johnny on the spot, Johnny come lately, John Q. Public, a Dear John letter, Johnny Reb, Johnny Law, Johnny Appleseed, John Hancock, Long John, or John the Bathroom.
Not to be confused with John the Baptist.
Yeah. We're going with the bathroom one today, folks. Is this the part where you're not supposed to guess why it's called a John?
I have no idea why it's called a John.
Is it just because it's such a common? Well, it's a biblical name.
Is it John the Baptist?
And I don't know. It's just like one of the most common names in Western culture. From its biblical origins.
Hence the term John Doe.
I did learn a little bit about that while I was researching this. The Doe part came mainly because they thought it was a last name no one else would have.
That makes sense. But it's a first name that everyone has.
Yes.
Why wouldn't you do like
John Smith?
Atticus Doe or something? A less common first name.
Yeah.
Belteshazzar Doe.
I do like the name Belteshazzar.
That's a good name.
It's a good name.
My first child will be named. Doesn't matter, boy, girl, Belteshazzar.
Lil Shazzy.
Little Shazzy.
Lil Belty.
Belty if it's a boy, Shazzy if it's a girl.
Great. Well, let me tell you about John, okay? So there's two theories about where one is the generic name piece. A little background on that I researched here. John, as a name, came to English around the 12th century. Actually, came from the French, with the French Jean. It was spelled Jehan back then, and now they've shortened it to just Jean. But it actually came to English via the French, which came from the Hebrew Yohanan. I don't know how to. Yohanan, which was God is gracious, which interestingly enough is different than the Hebrew word for Jonathan, which was Yohatan with a T in the middle.
Okay.
So those were different names, even though we associate them. Like I think a lot of people think John is a shortened version of Jonathan or something.
Yeah,
it's
I
not.
thought that.
It's
for a while.
It's an entirely different name. And the earliest John in English was Johann or Johann, and then it was shortened sometime between the 12th and 15th centuries. But the idea of using like a placeholder name to refer to a common person as early as 1392, this idea of a generic name showed up in English, but it was more common to be Jack was used as that common placeholder name.
Jack be nimble.
Yeah.
Jack be quick.
Yes. And Jack and the Beanstalk and whatever else, right?
Sure.
Yep.
But it does...
Like Ivan with the Russians.
It kind of existed side by side with John as that placeholder name, and then John kind of rose to prominence, and Jack kind of fell away for using that.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah. But Shakespeare, he used Jack. So,
That's true.
yeah. So
And
there's the one. So the idea that this generic placeholder name was used to refer to things like John Doe. Apparently, the earliest bathrooms were called Jacks.
Oh, yeah. If you've seen True Grit, there's the line, "The Jax is occupied."
Yeah.
Will be for some time.
Yeah. But it's going to change to John. And so this is the other theory, because otherwise, why didn't it just stay Jack? Why did it become John? And that can be traced to the guy who invented the first flushable toilet, whose name was Sir John Harrington.
Oh, interesting.
Yes. So Sir John Harrington was actually the godson of Elizabeth I. I was often referred to as her saucy godson, because this guy was a little bit of a rebel.
Hence the flushing toilets.
Well, that's actually like secondary. I went down the rabbit hole on this.
I could tell.
This guy is super interesting.
I think this is going to be our longest segment.
My others are super short, so that's fine. So he was an author and a translator, and was pushed limits a lot on what was appropriate, and made Elizabeth mad on multiple occasions.
Saucy.
I don't know what Ariosto's Orlando Furioso is. It's some kind of epic poem in Italian. Mm-hmm. And he decided to translate it, and apparently his translation was a little risque.
Of course.
And
a little saucy, if you will, to use the slang.
Elizabeth actually, she was so angered by the raciness of his translation that she banished him from her presence until he had translated the entire poem, under the assumption that that would never happen. But like, she used it as a pretext for making him go away because he was embarrassing.
Right.
But then he actually finished the translation and came back and was like, "Got it. Done." And so she had to let him back into her presence. That translation is still one that's commonly used, I guess, for that poem in English.
Must be a good one.
And must have been a good translation. So then it's after that he actually invents the first flushing toilet, which he called the Ajax, as like a pun on the Jax thing, like a Jax. It was apparently very similar to the current idea of a flushing toilet. It just didn't have the S bend that blocked the fume thing.
Oh, it didn't have the siphon.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
bloop.
Isn't Ajax also something from Greek or
Yes.
Roman mythology?
And so he was playing off that.
Okay, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So he was using that Ajax from Greek mythology, the Ajax thing, because of the common slang for the bathroom. And
Clever guy.
yes, clever guy. He actually then also, this is related to this, he wrote a longer essay. It was a satire criticizing English society called A New Discourse of a Stale Subject, called The Metamorphosis of Ajax, which he called it The Metamorphosis of Ajax because he was referencing his toilet, and he was basically calling English society
A toilet.
a toilet.
The evolution of the toilet.
Who would this guy be today? Would this no? I can't think of anyone.
I mean, just a trolling guy who's inventing things. The only one that comes to mind is Musk.
Yes.
I hate to say it.
I think this guy was smarter. Cleverer? More clever?
I don't
think,
think
yeah.
Musk is translating poetry.
yeah, Musk is not a wordsmith.
No. And
You
so
would have Grok do it.
it was the myth. He retold the myth of Ajax, who was the Greek warrior who went mad and killed himself. But then he also weaved in political issues and satire while also making references to toilets.
Perfect.
Anyway, so he got banished again because
Twice banished, saucy job.
yeah. And so it's very possible that the toilet's named after this guy. It's called the John.
I hope so. I hope so.
I think he kind of
He
earned it.
Yeah. I think he deserves it.
Yes. I agree.
But that's why we call it the John.
All right, up next, we're going to take a look at the term yeet.
He says with gusto.
I think that's the only way you can say it. I'll try to contain myself, though. So,
I think if you say it in the most academic way possible, it might actually be more funny.
yeet.
We're looking at yeet today.
So, yeet is new enough that you probably... What's that face?
I'm listening intently.
Okay. You probably know what it means, but what do you remember? Or how have you used yeet in your life.
How have I used yeet in my life? I don't think I have.
Really?
You have
I
ironically
used it
said yeet. at least.
ironically with students. I have said the phrase "the Lord yeet and the Lord yote." I know I've said that phrase before. I've heard one student satirically explaining to another student how yeeting is to throw forward, and there's a separate term for throwing backwards. I don't know if you found that one.
I don't know
but
if that came
I
up
don't
in my
remember what
research.
the variation of yeet is for throwing backwards that someone came up with. I don't think it ever caught on.
I don't know that that's a thing I've heard.
But I have no idea where this came from, other than someone just shouting a stupid word while throwing something.
It's got a certain like act of like force. Like,
It's almost an onomatopoeia.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
it's got that-
Yeah, because you have to really engage your diaphragm to say.
Yeah.
Broadly defined, it is a synonym for throw.
Cinnamon.
Sometimes you get a whiff of good riddance, according to this one. Like you just yeet it away. It's good to be gone with it.
Yeah.
It has.
I love how you just have pages and pages in front of you.
Yeah, I only highlighted a couple things. We're not going through all this whole thing. So, one of the earlier quotes I could find, at least from this one source, March of 2007. I was in high school still when this was.
I was 8 years old.
This is, this is from.
I was in my first year of teaching.
Old.
This is from something called Final Four Notes from Birmingham, Alabama. It just says, today's word is yeet, yelled by the Ramsey student section whenever a player makes a free throw. Its meaning? No one knows. Not coaches, not players, not cheerleaders, not fans. So it may have some origins in Birmingham, Alabama, but let's see, there's another quote here, another usage from, user, this is Urban Dictionary. Bubba Skoll Johnson defined yeet as term used to express excitement, especially used in basketball when someone has shot a three-pointer that they are sure will go in the hoop.
So it's a confident yeet.
Yeah, like how people used to say
celebration.
Kobe.
Yeah,
or
the
I still say Kobe when I throw something.
may he rest in peace.
Yeah, well.
See, I feel. Yeah. Anyway, then it all comes to a head with this really somewhat well-known Vine video. Does anyone remember that platform?
I remember Vine.
I don't think I ever traipsed around that platform.
I never had Vine, but I
had
had friends that had Vine.
Yeah.
Okay. What was it like? Was it like 8-second videos?
I think it was 10 seconds or
10
less.
seconds or less.
I could be wrong about that.
10 feels like a number.
For all you youngsters out there who don't know what Vine was, think TikTok if it was good.
Ooh. But before they added the long form videos.
Yeah, before the long form. So it's all punchline. It's just random things popping up.
Yeah.
And most of the comedy is just that something weird and unexplainable has just happened. And it's completely out of context because it's only 8-10 seconds, something like that.
I think, actually, you got to explain that more for the older generation because our students are aware because there are like reels.
Yeah, there's still
of just
compilations.
It's just compilations of vines that float
Yeah,
around.
and it used to be the phrase "do it for the vine," where you would do something stupid, but they would say "do it for the vine" because as if you were to get famous from doing this stupid thing.
Was that platform around for like a year? I mean, I feel like it was.
It feels very
It was-
short-lived.
I mean, it got bought and then shut down by Facebook, or was it Twitter?
One of them, yeah.
Yeah.
Back
think one of
before Twitter became X.
Yes, way before then.
I was waiting for you
so
to.
long.
I just decided to do it myself.
So anyway, 2014, a couple of vines surface, or these vines get made. One by someone with the
7 years later.
one with the moniker Little Meatball. Shows a kid with that moniker with that.
It's the way you said it, for the record. Lil Meatball.
He's just swinging his arms and as like pantomiming, throwing something and yelling yeet. And then there's another one of a girl yelling yeet as she hurls empty soda can in a high school hallway. And after that, I think it gains quite a lot more prominence and popularity after those vines are circulated.
I remember it being this old.
Like, 20.
I remember it being newer.
I definitely remember it being like first years of teaching. So that'd been like the 20 teens. It was pretty popular then with the grade schoolers. And I feel like slang usually enters in through adolescence, and then it filters up and down through the older generation and down to the younger kids below, like the high school age kids. That would have been some interesting research if someone has done research on how slang enters into society.
Would have been a great thing to bring for this episode.
Would have been. Missed opportunity.
That would have been smart.
There is...
We're not smart here.
There's another type of yeet mentioned here in this article.
Another type of yeet.
Yeet hay, which this yeet hay translates to hot air, so it describes what happens when you eat too much warm or spicy food. And...
I don't believe in that.
I don't believe in yeet hay.
Apparently, yeet has some really old version from over 500 years ago as a obsolete way of addressing a person. So like a
it's
pronoun.
a mutation of ye.
Yeah, ye and thou. So yeet. Would yeet like to go out to dinner? I'm not sure if that's the right form.
No idea.
But it was used as a pronoun like 500 years ago. And that
So
is,
kids, if you want to bring that back and
wanna
start
bring that
calling
back.
each other yeet.
yes. So if that is what I could find on the term yeet, and I like using it, well, I've heard it used more because I watch a lot of rocket videos, and sometimes they'll just refer to like a really early test as like just to yeet something into orbit, as opposed to like carefully put it into orbit, kind of just that more mindlessly experimenting with stuff, haphazardly throwing stuff out there and seeing what happens. How do you, Mr. Walter?
I'm not sure which one I want to do first. Let's just start with the first one, because
You did a
it
lot
is
of.
possibly the most interesting.
These are all old ones, right?
These are mostly old ones. I found even older ones, but they either were too crude or I couldn't find enough history with them. And I don't have a whole lot with these, but I do have some stuff. So my first term is Scaramouche.
Isn't that in the Bohemian Rhapsody?
It is in Bohemian Rhapsody. That is where most people will recognize this word from, whether or not they realize it's a slang, because we don't use it anymore.
Shoot, I feel like I recently heard about this, and I don't remember.
I don't think I've ever heard the definition or
Okay.
it used in any other context other than that song.
A Scaramouche, which will make sense once you hear the definition for the context of that song, is a cowardly buffoon or scamp. Okay? It's a cowardly, bumbling person. And this comes from the 16th century Commedia dell'arte, which is the Italian stock clown comedies, either written and performed, kind of like plays, but they're comedy shows, right? And one of the characters that was common was called Scaramouche. Scaramouche was the French word for the character, and this character was a combination of Il Capitaine and Zani. Interestingly enough, Zani, another character from the 16th century Commedia dell'arte, is where we get the word zany.
Oh,
So we had two slangs come out of this clown comedy routine from the 16th century. Only one of them really in use anymore. Zany you still hear sometimes. That's in a music amusingly unconventional or idiosyncratic person. But Scaramouche, being a cowardly buffoon, is not used as much anymore.
Interesting.
I feel like there's less opportunity. I mean, to refer to somebody as a cowardly buffoon than
Possibly nowadays, we don't have many opportunities to see each other be cowards nowadays.
Yeah, we don't have to defend ourselves or like turn down or accept duels or other acts of physical violence.
Yeah, maybe this could come up in gaming.
use it next time you're playing.
Instead of a noob.
Look at this Scaramouche. Get out there.
I feel like it's too many syllables for slang today.
That's true.
I feel like a lot of the slang today is like one
But
or
it
two
really
syllables.
makes you feel elitist
It
to
does.
use.
It rolls off the tongue.
It's got to be punchy, you know? Slang's got to be punchy.
Noob.
It's too hard to yell a
Boomer.
It's got to have a hard shh. It's got a moosh.
Yes.
It's not as nice.
Also, just being the French, it sounds sophisticated.
That's true.
Will you do the fandango?
Thunderbolts and
You know,
lightning.
not today.
Very, very frightening.
Galileo. I think my next one you will all be familiar with. It's cooties.
A disease obtained by fraternization with the opposite gender.
Which I believe came from lice. Lice were called cooties at some point. Or maybe it was fleas. I'm not positive.
It was lice.
Okay.
And so this is slang that originated in the trenches in World War I.
Interesting.
So this is British slang for lice that they got in
of course it's British.
Yeah. So
Of course it's British.
yeah. Well, so linguistically, there is some suggestion that it might have actually also been from like the Philippines. But what I find fascinating about that is, so I was researching just World War I slang as a part of this because I went down another rabbit hole.
Right.
And there's a bunch of like World War I slang that actually was just the British trying to say words in other languages incorrectly.
Yeah. Loan wording.
Yeah. And so it's possible that cootie is a derivative of a word from like the Philippines for that they just pronounced different enough that it became its own word.
But why in World War I are they using a Filipino word for lice?
Well, they did. So the British, I don't know how aware of this you are. The British pulled people, and so did all the European countries in World War I from their colonies to go fight in the trenches.
Wow. I did
So
not know
they had
that.
Indians, like the British had. So there's some of the slang.
I knew they had-
Yeah. So they had Indians fighting in the trenches. They had Africans fighting in the trenches. They had people from all over fighting in the trenches with them.
Fascinating.
Yeah. So then this word caught on, though, because in 1915, somebody made the cootie game, which was, you know, those like really cheap plastic and cardboard games that kids get where it has the little metal marble in there that you have to try to like get to
Right,
fall into the right spot. So it was one of those, except it had little pellets in there. The background on the paper part was like a World War I battlefield.
Oh.
And there was a little cage in the bottom, and you were trying to get the cooties to go into the little cage on this cootie game little thing. The more well-known, the game of cootie, which you've probably played. That's the one with the little plastic bug bits. So it's got the head and the body segment and then the legs, and you like roll a die, and then whichever number you roll, you
I've
get
seen
that
that.
body piece, and then it builds together into a plastic bug. And if you build your bug first, you win.
Yes, I've seen that.
I don't think I've ever laid eyes on this.
It's from the same publisher as like the Ants in Your Pants. And,
Yeah,
what's
It's
the
definitely
ice
same-
one?
it's in the same
Icebreaker.
vein, yeah. Don't break the ice.
Don't break the ice. It's
Okay.
the same type of box set.
All right, gotcha.
Yeah. So that came out in 1948. It was actually included in the list of like 100 most influential board games or games of all time. But
Do you have it in your board game
I do
collection for
not.
Board Game Club?
We do not have the game of cootie.
That's unfortunate.
After
should get
that,
on that.
though, after that, it kind of expanded to encompass all kinds of filth and contagion, which then led to the getting cooties from somebody, and then the circle, dot, dot. Now you got the cootie shot.
What?
You're not familiar with the cootie shot?
I'm not familiar with the cootie shot.
I've heard that before.
Well, yeah, because you don't want to get cooties from the girls. So how do you prevent yourself from getting cooties? You get the cootie shot.
He's not inoculated.
He is not inoculated.
Allegedly.
While I was in there Googling World War I related slang, here's some other just real quick hitters. Basket case.
That's from World War One.
Yeah, except they used it for men whose upper and lower limbs were blown off and they had to be carried around by a basket.
That's horrible.
Yeah.
Don't we use basket case to mean someone's mental state?
I might have.
Typically, it's someone who's hopeless.
Yeah.
That could be a mental state, or it could be a physical state.
state.
It
Yeah.
mainly started here.
Interesting.
Calling cigarettes gaspers.
Yep.
Apparently, that was just the officers called it that, gasper. To muck about.
That makes sense. Plenty of muck in
Plenty of
World
muck,
War
but
One.
yeah.
Yep. And cushy. Like a nice, comfortable job.
Yeah.
Cushy.
Wow.
Which was actually derived from an Indian word for the kush.
Oh, I would have thought it was cushion.
Cushion.
No,
Yeah.
no. It comes from
Fascinating.
From Hindi. So that's.
So when did the word cushion come around? Did we have cushion?
I think it existed before, but they probably.
Cushion, I'm sure, is French, right? It sounds French. Cushion.
you say
You
it.
can make anything sound French.
Go ahead.
Oh, with my word next.
I suppose.
That's the end of my.
That's the end. All right, cool. Lit. That's the word. What do you remember? How do you remember it being used?
I was never fully sure about whether this was a good slang or a bad slang when students would use it to refer to things.
It's good.
Yeah.
It means cool. Like
Yeah, but when there's, say, like a party is lit or something, I was never sure if that was
I think I might be able to
referring
explain
anything.
your confusion or your uncertainty.
Or they would just use, or then there was fire. Did fire come before or after lit?
I think
Where they
fire,
said that's fire, or
think
they would
fire
just use
came
the fire
after that.
I know it's
emoji.
fire, yeah.
Maybe they used the fire emoji to mean lit, and then it just became fire.
Yeah, I feel like lit's pretty dead by now.
Yeah, I agree.
I hope so.
There was the band
I
from
hope
the
it has
early
been
aughts, Lit.
extinguished.
Yes, anyway. Now, it has two meanings depending on what era you are in. The one that maybe makes you uncomfortable is that it used to mean intoxicated.
Because I have heard it as we're gonna get lit.
Yeah, we're going to get lit or lit up.
Lit up. Yep.
If we go back to 1918, John McGavick Grider, Warbird's Diary of an Unknown Aviator. This is the quote. We walked into the vamp's house. We got all lit up and had a heck of a time. Although they didn't say heck. So the idea of being lit or being lit up has been around for over 100 years, usually referring to alcohol, other intoxicating drugs, probably marijuana as well, as it involves smoking something. So lit came into vogue in the 2010s. In music, we've got Travis Scott's hit song Sicko Mode, where he features the line, "It's lit."
That's the title of that song became another slang, going sicko mode. Unless it was already a slang and he just used it for the song. I don't know.
I'm not sure.
And it was made its way also into advertising with McDonald's running running
the
ads
lit
for
campaign.
crispy tenders are lit.
That
Is
makes
cringe?
me- yeah, silence brand. That makes me want to eat McDonald's even less.
Yeah. So I guess I wasn't able to nail down the origin of lit, but it kind of just came up in the 2010s and then quickly spread like wildfire. And, and I remember vividly my first experience with it. A student, I think it was a 6th or 7th grader, said it's lit. And I thought they meant literal. Like they had just taken the word literal and
like
short.
the word Riz is charisma.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was not it. It's just meaning it's good. It's exciting.
Yep.
Lit.
Moving on.
Moving on to a similar kind of word. What do you know about the word funky?
Won't you take me to?
Funky town.
Funky town!
Funky.
So it could be cool. It could also be smelling bad.
Which one do you think is first?
And you have that funk is like anything that's off. Like I've been in a funk. Yeah, something that's foul smelling.
Yeah, I think it's probably first that.
So your gut instinct was correct. The original was musty or smelly, and that was derived from the Old French funkier, which is to blow smoke or to stink, from Latin, a similar root there. And it was first used in English in the 17th century to describe bad odor, but it was later adopted by African American communities and jazz culture in the early 1900s to mean something soulful, earthy, or cool. And describing something as earthy being funky makes sense to me. Something that's kind of like grounded or whatever. It's similar to how we got the new slang term dank, which I didn't really connect why that was in use for what it was until I started looking into funky and being like, oh, it's like, I don't know. It's earthy. It's down to
those
earth.
dank memes.
Those dank memes.
It is.
And dank podcasts like this.
It is interesting how a lot of terms take an original meaning and just take the opposite of it when it's slang.
Yeah, like something being bad.
He's bad.
Saying, oh, that he's bad.
Okay.
It means he's good. Things like that, yeah. So I wonder if there's a name for that phenomenon where the opposite is used to describe something.
Again, if we would have done our
as a slang.
homework,
If we had done our homework,
We would
which
have
we
an answer for
didn't,
you.
because we're not smart here.
Well, we can't always anticipate all of our musings, you know?
That's fair.
yeah, that is fair.
Some of it is lack of preparation. Some of it is spur of the moment musing. This one I would say was musings.
And some of it's dank.
Some of it is funky.
Speaking of funky,
Speaking of funky, I'm getting in here.
I'm gonna get in here. I'm gonna get my rant in here. All right. I'm gonna make a claim. Homecoming is too early in the year. This is coming at from a teacher's point of view. So students, you probably have a different point of view, but this is my rant, so it's going to be my point of view. From a classroom management
selfish of you.
/ overall vibe, using a slang term, vibe.
That's very good of you.
Yeah.
I'm proud.
So from a classroom management / overall vibe of school, classroom management, just the sequence of events in a class, homecoming throws a huge curveball into what has so far been a pretty nice progression of school. So we've been in school now, 2 months? A little over a month and a half. And so I feel like first couple weeks are really weird and you get your feet under you. And then the weeks after that, you're just kind of building the routine, setting your expectations for your class, and then trying to follow through as best as you can as a teacher so that your students know what to expect and it's like for the first unit and a half. But then we get the train wreck that is homecoming, which has shortened schedules, the not telegraphed, but the somewhat subtle expectation from students that, oh, it's homecoming. Teachers are going to go easy on us. And then the after-school activities all week long. And I feel like it being this early in the year, when you're still building on the expectations and the flow of your class, homecoming comes too early and it throws a big wrench into the works. And so I think we do something during this time of the year, but we scale it back. Have the homecoming football game. I'm not sure what else we do with the rest of it, but it's too big right now. It's too disruptive right now. We scale it back, and then we do something else similar to this in February. Where
For a turnabout?
Maybe turnabout, because let's be honest, when do we really need the pickup and when do we need the change in routine? It's in the dead of winter in February, not when it's 70 degrees outside and it's still nice out and we're still getting our bearings, trying to keep our bearings about us halfway through the semester. So probably not a popular opinion, but that's my opinion. That's my rant for today.
D+.
Ooh. I mean, I'll give it a B-. I think we should cancel homecoming entirely.
Holy cow.
I think it is a waste of time.
I disagree. Here's why. This is not the podcast topic, but we got on this topic later. I think it is an event that needs to be early in the year because it is a school culture thing. That part of it is, what does it mean to be part of our school? What is school spirit? How do we support that? How do we bring, especially freshmen, on board with that and get them unified as a class? And so I think that is a big piece of it. And if you move it, I mean, I agree that February is terrible. That's a different rant altogether. But
I think students do enough socializing. I think they're unified enough in their sports and everything. We have 18 billion extracurriculars here.
Those are all separate and divided, though.
Yeah, but they mix between them. It's not like they pick one extracurricular and don't do anything else. Most of our kids are in 3 or 4 extracurriculars. They're finding unity there. Agree to disagree.
Agree to disagree.
Yeah, I have brought this up just to be divisive, just to see what you guys would think. Mm-hmm. But now I see another bias of mine is I didn't grow up with a football team, so we didn't have homecoming until
that sounds wonderful.
The second semester, and I like it then. I just prefer it then. Anyway,
you're welcome to. I'm just gonna play devil's advocate.
Is that the next word?
That is the next word.
Ooh, look at that term. Devil's advocate, meaning to take the opponent's side, or the less popular side of a debate.
That's pretty much the definition, isn't it?
I think so.
But
unless it had a different origin. Don't know where it comes from, though.
This is one where I feel like I have heard or read the origin, but I have since forgotten it.
I feel like it would come about in like a newspaper where some people were arguing in Parliament and someone says that the other guy is being the devil's advocate for something, and then it catches on.
I feel like it's an English origin from someone like...
It's got to be English.
I feel like someone like Milton or some... What year is Milton around?
Milton?
Yeah.
Paradise Lost? No clue.
I want to, like the 1500s. I'm going to...
Isn't that more Chaucer? Is Milton and Chaucer the same time period? I know Milton went blind from reading by candlelight, so possibly.
I can't answer that question.
So
okay.
I'm going to say early to mid Renaissance period.
So that's good. The term first shows up in history in the early 1500s.
Early Renaissance.
The history of this is it's actually tied to the Catholic Church. It's very specifically. And what happened was, in the early 16th century, Pope Leo X created a post within the church called the Promoter of the Faith, Promotor Fidei. Okay? And that person's job was that if somebody was under consideration to be canonized, their job was to argue against their canonization, to dig up all of the details about why that person should not be made into a saint, and because of that, they're arguing against someone's sainthood. It led to an unofficial title, Advocatus Diaboli, okay, or Devil's Advocate. So that term is slang for this actual title within the Catholic Church that existed. First shows up again under Leo X. It was actually formalized into by Sixtus V in 1588. Now, the history of that actually comes because of its ties to a shift away from the church and towards this as a result of the Reformation. There was some concern that people were skeptical of the Vatican's integrity. Like there's this questioning of the church that's going on. And so they kind of created this position to try to strengthen their trustworthiness. Like, no, we're considering all sides. We're not just blindly doing things. But now that position no longer exists. It got eliminated in 1983 by Pope John Paul II. And now they don't do that anymore. They have somebody called the Promoter of Justice, whose job it is to examine the accuracy of everything, but they're not specifically charged with arguing against someone's canonization. I dug into that a little bit too, and there are people who are highly critical of that, saying that since now it's fallen, canonization has fallen more under the direct sway of the Pope himself,
right?
And there isn't this outside evaluator looking into it. And those who are critical of this point to the fact that like Mother Teresa was canonized only 1 year after her death. It seemed to be kind of a rush job, and saying it's centralized authority over canonization to the Pope, and that it's better to have this outside thing. But so it started very much in a very specific context in the Catholic Church, but has since that idea of arguing against something for the sake of testing it.
So you're telling me it's not English?
No.
It's more Italian.
That's unfortunate.
That is unfortunate. But we were right about the time period.
That's true.
Yeah, you get a lot of points for that.
He gets
just not all the points.
I do love playing devil's advocate with students.
In science, it's really fun to do.
When there's two sides to a debate, and you do it as, you don't do it like vehemently or to.
You just do it.
It's a little Socratic method.
Yeah.
Well, what about this? Huh?
Yeah.
Have you thought about that?
Minus the attitude. You just try to be the lawyer presenting a case.
Right.
And they'll still hold to their thoughts 9 times out of 10. But for the rest of the students, they can see how two sides. You can have two sides to any argument, at least two sides.
I agree. Would you like to introduce your last one?
Yeah, the last one, I don't have much to say about this one. I couldn't find much on it, but I just love the word. I used it a lot in high school.
So did I.
You're looking at it too. The word grody.
I use grody a lot.
I did not.
You're grody.
I'm too old for grody.
You're too old for grody.
Well, that's interesting because apparently it was popular in 1980s.
No,
What?
That's fair. Yeah, you know what? That is a very 80s word.
Yeah, so there's this 1983 film Valley Girl starring Nicolas Cage.
Of course.
And Mr. Walter, can you give us some Valley speak?
Like a valley girl? Yas, queen. That's so grody. O-M Jesus. What is going on here?
That's
Like that?
yeah, that's
Perfect.
basically. That's this film called Veligo that kind of exhibits this kind of talk and this kind of culture, and that's where it kind of comes from.
Valley referring to, is it the L.A. Valley? Or
San
is it
Fernando Valley, one of the valleys
California?
in California, southeast,
California.
south,
Yep.
For those not familiar.
West California.
With the slang term Valley Girl.
Yeah. But I just love the word grody because it's a word that you use it when like gross won't do, or you don't want to use grotesque because you're a teenager, but you choose this word because it is like that next level of disgusting and revolting.
You think it's more gross than gross?
Yeah.
Grody is more gross than gross.
And usually I heard it applied
I would say grody then gross.
it was usually applied to people. In a very unkind context, and yes, and usually it was reserved for the people that
the grossest of the gross.
Yeah, whatever those criteria might.
I think I would be more offended if somebody said I was gross than if I was grody.
I think I would be more offended if someone called me gross too. Grotesque, I'll agree with, but gross. Come on now.
And this is where we might
now we're just getting personal.
We might have regional differences for
That's
these
fair.
these slang terms.
And I am younger, so it may have been used differently when I was growing up.
It could be generational, it could be regional. As we could go down to just the school it was used in.
Probably. The evolution of grody. A novel.
Trademarked.
TM. All right. My last word, which you might need to hear in a sentence in order to understand what it is. Once you hear it in a sentence, you'll probably know immediately what it is. But my last slang is knock.
Spell it.
Typically spelled Knock.
Like the knock of an engine.
Sure.
Don't knock it till you tried it?
Don't knock it till you've tried it.
Oh.
Is the typical use we have it now. It used to be used more widely, but the same definition. So do you want to define it for our lovely listeners?
Well, it's just to speak poorly of it or to judge it unfairly.
Right. So to knock something is to criticize it. And we have no idea where this came from. The word itself comes from the Middle English knocken. But the slang to criticize arrives somewhere in the 19th century, late 19th century, and we don't know why. It's still used in "Don't knock it till you try it," but there are some theories thrown around.
Can I have a theory?
So many theories thrown around. Go ahead.
Is it like because is knocking on something a way that you could test its quality?
I have seen that thrown around.
You know, so I don't trust it, so I'm going to knock on it to verify its quality.
There's the quality aspect. There's also just like a door. Don't knock on the door till you've tried the door handle. Is one thing that people have come up with. Some people have suggested that is too modern, so they suggest an older version, which is to knock an arrow. Okay. Don't knock the arrow on the string until you've tried the string, because if you try the string and it comes off and you have an arrow on it, you might hurt yourself or something like that. So don't knock it till you've tried it that way. That seems more like don't test it, not don't criticize it. So the meaning would still have shifted there.
Yeah. In my own mind, when I heard that, I was just like, don't knock it down until you've tried it.
Yeah, don't knock it off its pedestal, or don't.
I guess that's what I always thought. Obviously,
because you can build yourself up and you can tear something down. So don't knock it down until you've tried it. That could also be something that's valid. And then the third option, I heard someone say it may have originated from hopscotch. With no other context as to whether or not how that would have been related to hopscotch. Apparently, hopscotch is an ancient game, played all the way back in Rome, which would mean that this phrase would have very ancient origins. But the truth is, we just don't know. But it's a pretty fun phrase.
Yeah.
Don't knock until you tried it.
It's got staying power.
Does have staying power.
It's one when that
regardless of if it's gibberish.
Yeah, it's one I feel like television and movie writers use a lot. Or, yeah.
Yeah, I
feel it's in a lot of media.
I think it's casual enough, but not slangy enough to be used. It's timeless.
It is one of those timeless phrases.
It is a timeless slang now. Just like the word slang itself.
Did anyone look up the etymology on that one?
The etymology of slang, I don't think we know where the term slang comes from.
That's perfect.
Which is perfect. The word that describes the group of words that it is itself one of those words and of unknown origin. Beautiful.
Words is fun.
Welcome to language. Closing thoughts, gentlemen?
I like words. I like using fancy words to spice up life. Oh, I forget the quote, but I think the quote was something like that. Whereas the vocabulary that you use, you can think of it as different spices, and if you use different words, you can spice up your language with different choice of words, which keeps it interesting. If you always just use salt and pepper, it gets bland. So now this is maybe more for higher level vocabulary, but using slang is like using the Cheeto dust to flavor your everyday language. It's punchy and it gets your attention. It's probably not the most healthy thing to do all the time, but
you hear that, Skibbity Rizzlers out there? Pick some different words.
And getting to look at these words has been fun, and it's kind of, I don't know how much use it is, but I feel all the more enriched because of it.
Yeah, I think one thing on the other side of that coin, one thing to keep in mind, because people love to complain that the current generation and whatever generation that is constantly destroying language.
That's been all throughout history.
All throughout history, yes. And while I do agree, they are currently destroying your language. Language is constantly being destroyed and constantly being born anew. It is constantly evolving throughout time, and having appreciation for how that happens and the way words come in and out of language and get reused. Maybe some of you will start using Scaramouche in your everyday conversations. I doubt it.
Please bring it back.
But
hashtag Scaramouche.
This is hashtag Scaramouche. But this is how language evolves. Things get brought in and out, and we just have to keep in mind that we are not the end of our language. We are just a tiny point in its history.
And people have been concerned about the homogenization of language for a while, since the development of mass media and everything else. And I think the internet has certainly led to more of that. And I think the length of language has shortened. Like, something will just pop up, and I walked through the freshman hallway the other day, and I heard bro about 15 times in 30 seconds.
Bro, no way, bro. Oh, come on, bro.
And I guess maybe my point on that is I've always believed that, as Mr. Raber said, that having more language to use not only allows you to describe things more precisely, but also shows intelligence. It's one of the arguments that I make for students against swearing so much, is the time that my drug dealer neighbor helped me rake up the leaves in my yard and dropped a certain expletive 100 times in about 5 minutes. And I was like, oh, so you don't have much intelligence. That was my takeaway. So learn the language, learn more slang, It gives you more things to pull into your life, more of a chance to use the precise word that you want at the right precise moment. And your homework, ladies and gents, is there a new word you can add to your vocabulary today that you can use to make your spice rack spicier?
Just make sure when you're using that new spice, you don't dump it on everything. If your new word is bro, we don't want to hear bro, come on, bro, please, bro.
A little goes a long way.
A little goes a long way. Thanks, everybody. I was trying to think of a slang for dismissing class. Yeet. Class dismissed.